How to use the Roth IRA to buy real estate. Hi, welcome back. I'm Ted Thomas. I've been involved in real estate since 1970, but I'm primarily involved in the business of tax lien certificates and tax deeds over the past 30 years, teaching them, guiding people, and showing them how to make money. This episode is all about how to use a Roth IRA to buy real estate. Now, you're not going to be disappointed when you learn this, because this is the way to put a small investment and make it into a really big investment and do the work once, and it grows to making lots of money. So a Roth IRA, you don't pay any tax on the growth of the IRA. So I've watched many IRAs start with a small investment of $5,000 and grow to $100,000, not taxable. So you're going to learn that, and I'm going to focus on tax deed properties and why they create such incredible returns. Now, before I finish this video, I'm going to talk to you about two big mistakes that auction buyers, they make them, and they're devastating because they cost them a lot of money. I'll come back and tell you that in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. The best bargains in real estate, from my perspective, are tax defaulted properties. Why? Because they're going to sell property. The local government is going to sell property for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar, starting bid. So that's the place to start, especially when there's no mortgage. Now, what is a tax defaulted property? It's a property someone didn't really want. Nobody cared about that property. So the previous owner didn't pay the tax, or they might have abandoned the property, or they might have gone broke. So it maybe is slightly used and slightly abused. But these properties come up for auction every day in America. So you need to learn about tax defaulted property. Now, the counties are selling these properties because no one has been paying taxes. The county needs taxes. What do they use that money for? Well, that's the revenue that keeps the wheels of the government going. What does it do? It pays for the school teachers, pays for the police department, pays for the firefighters. Someone has to pay for the court system. Someone has to pay for the roads. All the things need to be paid for. That all comes from property taxes. All right, so if people don't pay property tax, the legislature tells the treasurer, first of all, levy the tax, collect the tax, and if those people don't pay, confiscate the property and sell it. So these properties are sold for very close to the back taxes. So non-payment of taxes will trigger a big notice from the county that said, pay your taxes or we're going to confiscate your property. So that's what a tax deed is all about. Now, if the treasurer can't collect, well, they're going to get the property. Now, you might have some comments about this video. You can put them below me when I finish. If you have questions, you can put those there. If you want to know what your state pays on a tax lien certificate, just let me know and I'll answer those questions, and I'll give you a free gift. But let's go back to how to use a Roth IRA to buy real estate. So the savvy investors, the people that make the big money, they start with a Roth IRA. Now, that account will allow you to pay a small tax when you buy the investment. From that period on, all the growth within that investment is going to be tax deferred. No tax will even be payable. So it's even more than deferred. It's actually a tax deduction. You won't have to pay anything on all of that growth. So if you purchased a property for 20 cents on the dollar and you sold it for 100 cents on the dollar, that won't be taxable. All right, now let me tell you about a recent client so you get a good example of this. So the client in a Roth IRA invested $4,000. The property was abandoned. Now, there was a whole story about that, but I don't have time to tell you about it. The tax assessor had a low assessment on the property of only $55,000. But let's do the comparison. He bought it for $4,000 and it was worth $55,000. So certainly less than 10 cents on the dollar. But there was a little fix-up. The lawn needed to be taken care of. Some trees needed to be taken, a little paint and cleaning. So a little fix-up was done. That added another $7,000 to the investment. So now what do we have? We have 4 and 7. There's $11,000 invested in this property. That's not a big investment, but it's all done through the IRA. It's not an individual. It's the Roth IRA that purchased this, paid for the fix-up. Now he kept the property and he fixed it up and he decided he would sell the property. Well, there was a waiting buyer. The waiting buyer wanted installment payments. Well, that's another signal that says that they want you to finance the property. So he sold the property with installment payments. Okay, the payments were for 84 months, that's 7 years, and the payment was $1,000 a month. Pretty easy to figure out. 84 times 1,000, sold the property for $84,000. Let's go back and see what he paid. Paid a total of $11,000. There's a $73,000 profit, all within the IRA, no tax to pay. So think about that as an investment. That's a powerful investment for anybody. If you made $75,000 in your job, are you going to have to pay taxes? Yes, 25, 30, even 50% tax for some people. But within an IRA, it's non-taxable. All right, now am I an expert on IRAs? No, but I am an expert on making money with tax liens and tax defaulted property. Okay, this investment, whether it's a traditional investment or a tax-deferred one like in the Roth, either way, you're going to make money. Now, I'm here to sell you the IRA. Well, I'm selling you on the concept, but I'm not an insurance man. I'm not a banker. I'm not a broker. I'm just a person just like you that buys and sells. And I made my business by doing this in the trenches. So this is a good way for you to start making yourself some money. So I'm going to answer a couple of questions, and then we'll go to get you that free gift. Okay, a Canadian investor, a question about a Canadian investor. If you live outside the United States, the common currency in the United States is one currency. It's US dollars. The counties only speak English in the United States. That might change over the next few years, but they only speak English. So you need to do business in English, and you need to do business with US dollars. So your currency is fine. You can come here and change it at the bank, but you're going to need US dollars to buy tax defaulted property or tax lien certificates. Now the question is there a maximum amount to put in a tax lien or a tax deed? Well, you're going to have to choose that. No number I could give you is going to work out because you only know how much money you have and how much risk you're going to take. All you're interested in is the base price. How much margin do you have? I'm willing to pay. I'd like to buy all my properties at 20 or 30 cents on the dollar if I could do it. But if I see that I can spend 30 or 40 and I can make 100,000 above that, so a good example of that, a $400,000 house, there's a lot of people that are willing to pay $200,000 for that, and I wouldn't blame them. So they would be putting 50%. That might not be you. So there's no hard, fast rule. But what you're interested in is what is your purchase price compared with the amount of margin. Okay, so let's talk about those two big mistakes. Number one, people show up at the auction and they right away start bidding. They're really excited, so they want to get going. You don't want to bid at an auction if you haven't seen the property. Why? What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a big storm and there was a flood? What if there was a fire? Something might have happened to that property since you last looked at it. So if you've not looked at it, don't bid at all. If you have looked at it, it has to be recent, very close to the auction time. So looking at a property, a lot of people don't do it, and then they get in big trouble and they lose a lot of money because the property isn't any good when they get there. So that's number one. Number two, you don't want to bid in an auction unless you have an exit strategy. So if you don't know what you're going to sell the property for, how can you plan on bidding? You could easily bid too high. So what you want to do is you want to plan your purchases. So you need to know exactly what the property is worth, what you can sell it for, and what you can sell it for quickly before you start bidding at auction. That's called an exit strategy. All right, folks, if you learned a lot in these lessons, we have a lot more for you, and all you have to do is join my community. Now, I have a gift for you if you do join the community, and all you have to do is go below me, but the gift is a quick start. Now, what does quick start mean? It's just a short course that's online that you can start right away learning about tax liens and deeds. The first part of the quick start is about tax lien certificate. The second part is all about tax deeds. You can learn both of those, and you can do that. Just go below me. It's a free course. It's my gift to you.